Hello heroes and villains, welcome to Multiverse. Some of you guys asked for a Moon Knight video, so let's get this party started. We can make a version of our friend Moon Knight right at character creation, like everything you see right here comes from character creation. But ideally, there's the moon emblem you can get straight at character creation, but ideally you are going to want to upgrade the look of your character a little bit as you gain more and more styles. There is some lunar gloves you could get at character creation that are somewhat Moon Knight theme, you could say. And there's also some tall lunar boots. We can get those gloves and boots right at character creation. Again, they don't look really like what anything a Moon Knight actually did use, but it still kind of work with the theme of the character. But you could easily upgrade the look of the character by using the Spectre headpiece. Very often Moon Knight was portrayed as having like a black face, the face was portrayed all in shadows, and this headpiece works real well to do that. And sadly, as you can see when you look at the side, you can see that there's literally no face underneath. For the hands, the Sinistro gloves is probably the better option I could go with. For the boots, I would simply go with the nuclear boots. For the belt, I would go for something like the Abyssal belt, but there's a handful of belts you could use easily enough. So we can easily upgrade the look of our friend Moon Knight with just a few pieces, and it gives us a pretty cool looking version of Moon Knight in this universe online. But we could go one step further. Very often Moon Knight was portrayed with a lot of black on the chest piece and the pants, and the void material would be perfect to reproduce that. And to try to get some whiter material on the gloves, we could use something like the opalescent material. So we can come up with a pretty cool looking version of our friend Moon Knight, kind of like he was drawn by Bill Sienkiewicz way back when in the early days. Although we don't have to use the opalescent material, it actually looks a bit better without it. Although I wish we could get the gloves pretty much the same color as everything else that is white. Oh well, what can you do? Or there might be another pair of gloves we can actually use. I guess the Shepherd of Adara could do the trick, but they're a little too bulky in my taste. I don't know, there's something that bothers me about those gloves, so I kind of prefer the Sinistro gloves. I guess we could try the Disciple of Parallax. There's a whole bunch of circles on the gloves, so I don't really like those. So I would stick with the Sinistro gloves despite the metallic tint in the gloves. But I'm sure a lot of you guys would like to see the TV version of the costume. Let's take a look. They kind of gave Moon Knight a whole bunch of bandages as if he was a mummy, so let us see if we can use a mummy skin to try to reproduce Moon Knight. So obviously we'll have to remove the chest piece and the pants, and we have to change the color of the skin. And also you can see there's the bandages are affected by the makeup, so let us change that as well. For the headpiece, the hood should do the trick. There's a handful of hoods we could use at this point. Like there's probably the Green Arrow hood we could also use. But I kind of like to use the classical hood we get at the character creation, so let's go for that. For the belt I would be tempted to stick with an Egyptian theme with the Egyptian sorcerer. But the vesture of proselyte might be a better option. For the boots, he seems to have some sort of boots with some knee pads. For the boots I can't really find really good boots, so let's go for the Egyptians. For the gloves, I can't really find a pair of gloves I kind of like, so let's stick with the Sinistro gloves. For the cape, his cape does seem to be shredded a little bit, so let's go for the tattered cape. And for the eyes, let's go for the emissive eyes, because why not? And the TV show, they seems to have given him some sort of loincloth. It's not exactly it, but it's close enough that if you were to create this look, people will understand that we have created the TV version of our friend Moon Knight. The Silent Master sadly doesn't have a face. I guess the Sharpshooter would be an option. Although with the Sharpshooter, as you can see, we kind of lose the glowing eyes. There's also the League of Assassin. That would probably be the better option, but we don't have eyes for the character. That's the only drawback I see with that option. So this is pretty much what I would do to reproduce the TV version of the Moon Knight character. But personally, I would much prefer to go for the classic version. So if I was to recreate our friend Moon Knight in this universe online, this is pretty much the option I would go for. I wasn't sure if I should include Mr. Knight. Basically, you need a white mask and a white business suit, and there you go. Here I'm using the Riddler pants and the Riddler shoes. I'm using the DC Bombshell Harley Quinn gloves. For the jacket, I'm using the business jacket. For the face mask, I'm using the full face slimline. But if you don't want to use the urban business, you could use the Riddler chest piece. It would give us the Mr. Knight without the jacket, which is still kind of works. Although we do get the question marks from the Riddler. What can you do? You do the best you can with the styles you have within DC Universe Online. So if I was to create a friend Moon Knight in DC Universe Online, this is pretty much the option I would go for. It's pretty close to the classic version of the character from way back when, and I have to admit it's pretty much my favorite version of the character.